You got to turn it around. Dunny moving. Dunny using phone.
I got a. You said it was a flip phone.
Okay, welcome back to Pile of Mopars once again. I've been a little lax and getting back at the CUDA just because things got busy, and today it's Sunday again, and we got a special trip going on here. About a week and a half ago, my brother Randy was delivering some steel to a gentleman just over an hour from me, and he had an interesting car sitting in his yard, and they got to talking, and the guy said he would sell it. So me and my buddy Ron are going to head over there now. We're in the deck truck and see if we can make a deal on it. Do I need it? Definitely not. Do I want it? Well, of course. So you've probably already seen in the thumbnail, it is a 68 GTX. Supposedly it has the original numbers matching engine in it, and he said the tranny wasn't. It's got a Sears transmission, so a Sears reman from back in the day. The guy has owned it since he was 16, so I haven't met him, but I gotta think he's probably had it 45 years anyway. Hopefully I can get his story about the car on film, just so we don't lose the history of the car. You know, I always love these cars for more than just the car, but for their story of, you know, what they've been through and what they've done and stuff. So anyway, me and my buddy Ron, we're on our way there, and we'll pick this up when we show up there. Well, that's why he's got the stories. Because you told me, you said, oh, well, I got some stories on that.
The guy before me was the guy.
Okay, here's the car as it sits. Just going to do a quick walk around and then check it out. He's owned it since about 76, since high school. It's been sitting for about 20 years, I believe he said. Yeah. This is how, well, for you young guys, this is how we used to find them in the 80s. They would be, you know, weathered car, but complete. Okay, it's a new day here. Let's have a quick walk around and look at this thing up close before I unload it. Okay, so she's a little crusty, and there's prior collision damage for sure. I guess that can happen in, you know, almost 60 years. So I got the filler panel came in it. It's just in the back seat. Bumper's a little crunched. You see the trim on the grill's not the greatest, but we'll go through. It had a front end collision when he bought it back in 76. This is a Chrysler replacement fender, and of course after all these years it's rusted out too, but you know, that's fixable. It came with the 4 original chrome road wheels. He's got a brand new Chrysler chrome for this in the back seat that was never mounted, so it's got a big dent under the rocker here. But anyway, the door's not so bad. And then we'll go back here. Dent right here. He was telling me the story on that one. Of course, GTX emblem. They're crusty. I think both quarters probably have to be done, but maybe for a ratty driver, a guy could get away with just, you know, as is, where is. You know, rusty on the bottom, rusty back in here. The back bumper's not bad for a driver. I mean, it's not great, but not bad for a driver. The rear trunk trim panel is in really nice condition, which is a bonus because those are expensive to buy. It's got the original tips on replacement exhaust. And of course, it's got an awesome trailer hitch, which will you know, have to go away. And we'll get over to here. Now this is the day 2 look on this side. He's got Krager knockoff wheels on this side. So I got the other 2 Magnums and the other 2 Kragers with the car. So that's nice. A little bit of a push here, a little bit of a pucker, but I like I said, I think both these quarters can have to be replaced. You know, resting through here. This quarter was replaced back in the day. You can see where up there on the top where they seamed it, and I'll show you that in a minute. Another dent right there. You know, the floor's got a couple holes here and there. Overall, they don't look bad. They got carpet, so I couldn't look at the whole floor, but we'll get to that in a minute. The door's decent. And then this fender was replacement off a 69. He said it was from a 69 Roadrunner, but judging by these holes for the emblem placement, I'm thinking probably Sports Satellite. But, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's from down here. An interesting note too, I looked. You can see the drum is a red color. On the factory, whenever they had like a rally wheel or a Magnum wheel put on at the factory, they painted the drums red, and that's what you see looking through the wheel. So that's an original drum, and those are the original Magnums. Now, I'll show you here a bit underneath. It's probably really hard to see. I think maybe when I unload it, I'll lift it up and have a better look underneath. That might be the way to do it. I'm up on the truck now. Here you can see the other 2 wheels. These are just some extra chrome wheels he had laying around. You can see somebody put hood pins in it. The hood itself is not bad though, so it's got prior damage here, but you know, for a ratty driver, even to do a driver paint job, I'm sure the hood will be fine. This piece here is a passenger side. You can see it doesn't fit very well. He was saying years ago he was doing 100 plus miles an hour and this thing just flew up and was gone. He said he couldn't find it, so it came with another one in the back seat. So I'll switch that out so we get the proper contour there. As you can see, this one fits nice. So it's got a spot. You can see the crack in the glass and a bit of filler work right here. He said, again, he was driving the car and the hood flipped up and smoked that and the roof. I don't think that's going to be much of a repair, just basically a dent. I will be looking for one of these. The replacement he had is from a Roadrunner. It says 383, so maybe I even just leave the 383 in there to mess with people. That'd be kind of fun. Okay, now this is probably where the most damage is. Where are we here? Because like I said, when he bought it in 76, when he was 16, he paid $625 for it, and it had been in the front end collision. The front end was all smashed up, so he had to source parts. But the rad support, you can see here, it doesn't even fit the fender. You know, it's got holes for the hood pins. It's all mangled here. And then down here it's just mangled. Lots of wrinkles in this inner apron. This here section here has been pushed out, buckled. You can see the base of the cowl and all the filler there. So she's pretty rough that way. And then down here, the bottom of the rad support, you can see how it's all mangled. So years ago, he bought a complete inner front clip, frame rails, all the inners, firewall, everything out of another satellite car, and then all this as one unit. And it's straight as an arrow and rust free. So that's what's going to happen here is you know, drill out spot welds and section all that in. That would be the best repair, because yeah, this is pretty much a mess. But the cars are pretty simple the way they're built, so shouldn't be an issue here. You can see more wrinkles and damage down here. It's just nasty. But you know, as a 16-year-old kid throwing a car together, that's obviously it worked, right? So not show quality, but it worked. The hood itself is in nice shape. Just got some surface scale off a, I'm not sure, I guess it was off a blue car that was changed to yellow, but it doesn't matter. And so yesterday, chatting with the guy who owned it, he always thought this was a blue car, but the more you look at it here, and at first you think, well, that's factory oxide primer. And then all across the back you can see bits of paint and stuff. And then underneath the sill plates and the floors and in the trunk, and that, you can see that color, and it looks too shiny, too nice to be primer. So anyway, we decoded the fender tag, and this car was originally turbine bronze MM1 with a black gut, and I think that's a beautiful color, a nice rich color. So you know, one day maybe it's going to go back to that. For now, it's just a ratty beater driver. This here, we think, obviously the carb's been replaced, but we think this is the original numbers matching engine. It's a 68 HP 440, and on 68s, down at the back of the block where bolts mates up with the transmission is where they put the serial number. And I couldn't get myself up there to have a look, but he swears it's the original engine. He never ever had it apart, and I've got to kind of believe that, because everything else, you know, lines up that way. Single pulley, so it's manual steering, manual drum brakes. Kind of odd maybe for a GTX being an upscale car, but I kind of like it. It's almost like a Roadrunner, but just with a bigger engine, you know, because it's pretty base otherwise. The only options that I can see so far are the buckets. Well, buckets would be standard, but the console would be optional. It had the AM radio, which is optional, and then the chrome Magnum wheels. He said it's got a non-sure grip differential. And it's probably, we haven't checked, but it's probably a 323 gear set, because that would be standard in a 440 GTX. He said he lost lots of races because all he did was spin, and yeah, I can believe that for sure. There's a better shot of the hood. Yeah, like a little bit of a dent and a bondo up there, but that's easy to fix, and your guy could always weld up those holes, you know, keeping things on the cheap. This one does have the 440 call out on it. I like these 68 vents, you know, side facing vents, better than the 69s. I mean, they never had the air grabber option in 68, which is pretty cool. But I like the look of these. They look like a side vent coming out of the you know, the engine bay, which is neat. Yeah, so Windows toast, but it's not the original. It's been replaced before anyway, so, you know, whatever. I'll give you a shot of that. Here's the roof here. You know, pretty basic. It's not bad. No issues. One thing we noticed, 68s are supposed to have the black button, and then 69 went to chrome, but the other side has a chrome button. So I think it's a little early for a factory screw up, but you know, in the production line, but who knows if it's been replaced or not. It is the original door, both sides. Here's where lots of filler work in the passenger C-pillar, and you can see, just like a Frankenstein, how they sectioned it, which is kind of goofy. So generally repairs like this were fairly early in the car's life. The guy I bought it from never did it, so this was all done prior to 76. And so yeah, probably got smoked. I have a feeling this car led a hard life at the beginning and even when you know, the owner had it. Typical, we got a bit of rust here. This side's not so bad, but the other side is pretty perforated, but you know, for a ratty driver, who cares? Nice back window. It came with another window, a spare that he picked up for some reason. Nice to have. Both doors are really nice. They got a bit of surface on that bottom pinch weld, but there's no swelling. That's good. The factory door panels are, you know, puffed out from water damage on the bottom, but I think they can be repaired. It's got, surprisingly, a perfect dash pad. No cracks or nothing. And the dash itself is in nice shape. GTX, and you know, it's all complete. It's never been apart, so that's kind of neat. And you notice here, when I seen the pictures before I seen the car in person, I suspected it might be an early build car because that center of that steering wheel is a 67 piece, and 68s are totally different, you know, with the vinyl that pops up more. So that was common on early cars because they were using up parts. So there was that, and then these seats. They have no headrests. After I think January 1st of 68, headrests became mandatory as a federal safety regulation. But prior to that, they were optional. Of course, this doesn't have them. And an interesting side note, these seats, when he had the car, he wanted high back buckets. So he had seats in here from a 68 Mustang, taller seats, I guess he said. And so he switches out and traded or sold these seats to his friend who put him in a Chevy 2. And then years later, he realized the error of his ways and decided to get his old seat backs, and he pulled them out of the Chevy 2 and put them back in here. And I'm really glad he did. They are, you know, obviously they're dry and old and splitting, but for a ratty driver, they're perfect. The console is green, and the original console's in the trunk, or what's left of it. When he got it, previous owner had sawed the console off, I think it's right here, and just had this front section, so he searched out another console, and that's why it's green. Headrest got the typical, you know, mouse holes and damage, but again, ratty driver, totally fine. Back seat's quite nice. Here's that other rear glass, and then the hood piece and some emblems and armrests are underneath the glass sitting there. Oh, and another thing on this dash here, it's got some odd damage. Right here, this bottom panel here is just, you know, where the trunk or the glove box latches, it's really smashed in here. And my buddy Ron, who was with me, we kind of speculated maybe from the original accident, the collision, somebody's knee or body part hit that and stove that right in. So I think a guy could probably straighten that out. If not, I do have another, you know, spare just plain dash frame. A guy could just, you know, section that piece in and, you know, make it work, right? It is what it is, so you know, what do you do? Anyway, I'll give you a shot here, and then we'll go around to the other side. Okay, we're on the other side up top. Bit of a pinhole here, but this is around the window I was telling you about. You see that's a hole all rusted through there, so that's so typical in these, so most likely what has to happen is that has to be replaced, the Dutchman panel. But again, if you lower your standards enough, the cars become more viable as far as transportation. The mirrors in the back seat, he's got that, just a single mirror, you know, standard. Oh, and it's I just noticed it's not a remote mirror, it's a standard base mirror. So very low content on this car, which I actually think is cool. That it's just base. Yeah, I better look at that steering wheel. Yeah, normally these are padded and they come up. So definitely early. 88,000 miles. And he says that's original. It hasn't gone over 100. So according to him, that's pretty cool. Not that it matters. It's, it is what it is. For such a relatively low mile car, it sure is beat. My gold Cuda, the 70 3D3, it's just right around 100,000 miles, and yeah, much better condition. I got lots of these. I grab a lot of these, so I'll switch that out. I got lots of these with the knobs on them, so I'll switch those out. Again, a little floppy here, but that can be repaired. I'm digging the original style vintage floor mat. That's pretty neat. So here, this is just sitting here, corroded too. I got lots of those, but I can use this one too. Anyway, here's a shot of the original bronze color. I think it's a really rich color. It's probably, by the looks of it, a very similar shade, a 68 version of my 69 Charger, which is T5 copper metallic. So that's cool. And incidentally, we'll have a video of that Charger homecoming shortly. Well, in the next 2-3 weeks, probably early October, we are going to head to my buddy's shop and pick it up. He's done lots of work on it. We'll do a full feature on that one. And that's a 69 Charger RT factory 426 Hemi with a 4-speed. I've owned that car about 20 years now, and I'm finally, doing some work on it. It was pretty rough, so it needed lots of work. But my buddy Ken is a master at this stuff, so I'm really glad that he took it on. And then when I go to pick that up, bring the Charger back, I'll be bringing him my 70 Super Bee. It needs quarter panels, trunk floor, trunk drop-offs, and some other minor stuff. So he's going to do the metal work on that. So that'll be nice. Here, I'll open the trunk and give you a look in there now. Oh, here's that chrome piece I was telling you about. Looks like it's got plastic film that disintegrated on it, but brand new from Chrysler. It's too bad there wasn't two of them, because the other one that's still on the car is kind of mangled, but whatever. Okay, I'll give you a little better shot of the damage. Up here you can see it just wrinkled right in. And then this cowl, it's just damaged straight out. So that piece that I got with the car has all this, so most likely a best option would be to drill out the spot welds and then put the whole unit in as one, because it is perfectly straight and rust free. It's off a satellite, so that'll be the best, easiest repair for this. Now I'm just shimmying down the side of my truck, trying not to fall off. And I got the special trunk key to open the trunk. Now, there's some parts back here, and I'll show you the condition of the car. So here's what's in the trunk. A-body console for some reason. This is the original console I was telling you about, and it was sliced right off of there. Yeah, you can just see it's... Anyway, it's too bad, but not a huge deal. Typical crusty trunk floor. This is a fresh Recore rad. This is the original rad, 22-inch, and it's got a 3-core, and it's got a tag here from when it was redone. So that's a nice bonus, because that's about $700 to get redone today. There's the drive shaft, and it's the original style with the vibration dampener on the end of it. So that'll go back in. See, they used some trunk paint on here. Yeah, and then you look at this trunk lid. It, original blue. Well, not original blue, but painted blue. But you can see a bit of the bronze poking through. And then same with on the floor of the trunk up ahead there and stuff. You can see bronze everywhere. So they did a pretty decent job of painting blue because everything's blue. But, you look close enough. You can see all the bronze poking through. We get the typical rust and stuff here. And, when I first was looking at all the bronze, a bit of crust here too. I was thinking, man, maybe this has been a rebody or something. But I did check, you can see here, I did check the numbers. There's numbers here, it's hard to focus. There and on the rad support and on the fender tag, and everything matches. So as we looked, we realized it was just a bronze car that was painted blue quite well. Oh, another thing, this trunk lid is not that great. It's not bad along the seam, but as you can see here, let me try and get the sun here. Maybe I'll turn directions. You can see here it's all rusted out on the inside. So, a guy could section that in and from another junky trunk lid or just replace it, whatever. For now, looks good from the outside and that's all that matters. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. This is cool right there. Yeah, so I'm going to unload it here. So I got to go to work. And, here, look at this. Factory cast iron dual point. It's probably the original distributor. What other? Yeah. He said there's no build sheet because years ago he had the back seat out and he was cleaning it out and it was just a big pile of confetti from the mice. The mice had chewed it up, so no build sheet, but whatever, it is what it is. Before I fully unload the car, I'm going to get it up in the air and have a look underneath. The tires were flat when I went to look at it, so it was kind of hard to see what was going on under there. But one thing I did notice, there was some frame rust. And I will show you that in a second here. Just got to put my gloves on. So right where the dog leg is for the frame here on the driver's side. So if you look right there, and what happens is they fill up with dirt and then they just stay wet, right? And they get crusty. So, where am I here? You see there. So, anyway, that'll be addressed. That front clip has part of this. I think they cut it too short. Like, had they gone right to there, it would have been much better. But I think they cut it here. And you see this is all rusted out there. So, that'll have to be gone through. But, pretty much how these things go. Here's the driver's rocker. Like, it is solid as far as rust goes, but you can see how it's stoved in. Get down here some more. So from this side, the floors don't look bad. At least they're there. See here. But I do notice this is where your driver's feet would be. There's holes there. Looks like holes over here too, so you might need a front section put in. Another bottom view of that frame rail there. Just a little crusty. Guy could, section, put the whole thing in, or, he could cut off that other piece there and just section it in. There and maybe up to here, just, this dog leg part. But we'll see. I mean, we can get it running driving as a ratty driver, and that won't have much consequence anyway. So there's the Sears transmission. He said he went through a few trannies in this. I'm not sure why. That's not normal. But, yeah, so the original tranny's gone. He said back when he was young, you know, it didn't matter. And that's how it was, you know, when these cars were 5-10 years old. Nobody cared about numbers matching. So tranny blows up, you get another one. So anyway, in the end, this is a Sears reman back when they did it. And you can see here also, these headers are all rotted through too. I've got a nice set of new B-body 440 big block headers, so you can just put them in. The front frame rail here is nice. I can see from here the other side is stoved in, but I'll crawl over there and show you that. Otherwise, overall, I'm impressed with the floor on this side. Let's see what the other side brings. Oh, here's the other side, passenger side. You can see the frame here. It's much nicer. It's perfect as far as rust goes, and I don't see any dents either. You can see here on the transmission cross member, it's clear here, but if you notice, this one's full of dirt and mud. And that's why they rust it out. They just get clogged with dirt, and then they get wet, and they stay wet. You know, and over decades, that's what happens. But look at the floors. I can't really tell. It almost looks like the passenger front floor pans. Got a bit of holes here too, so we'll see. And here's another inside shot of that header. You can see all rusted out. No problemo though. And then this is a part of, oh, see, look at this rocker. Nice and straight, and don't see any rust on it. You know, there could be behind the trim, but from what I can see now. But here's some rust in the floor that I did see. Where it seams on the back, to the back floor footwell area. Anyway, I seen that from the inside when I lifted the carpet, so, you know, whatever it is, what it is. And then the front of this frame, rear frame section, stoved in. You know, it hit something, and, you know, I got numerous cars with that. That's just, you know, whatever. You see the area under where the rear seat would be, right there. And it's nice and clean as far as rust goes. And same with the tunnels, all nice. So, you know, good and bad, right? You see both mufflers, as expected, are rotted out. So I'll probably buy an exhaust kit, and I put all my other headers on. He said he put the headers on back in the 70s and threw away the manifolds. And again, you know, that's par for the course. That's what you did. I can see it's got coil-over shocks way back there, which is nice. And, you know, I'm looking at the trailer hitch, and my first inclination was, oh, that's got to go. But I almost think it would be cool, you know, pulling my little utility trailer, doing a dump run or something in a GTX. And, you know, that might be neat just to leave the hitch on. You know, it's part of its history, and make it more usable. I think that would be funny. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I can think of underneath here at the moment. Maybe I'll set it down and I'll crawl into the back and give you a shot of that. Okay. Crawled into the back. These B-bodies are famous for, there's a panel here that ties all the rear frame rails together, and they're famous for rusting out. Can't really get in there to look, but they don't feel too bad. Frame rails themselves, this side looks good. Yeah, not sure. There's a flat spot there. No, I think it looks fine. Yeah, you can see the coilover shocks. And of course the trunk extensions here on the side are both rusted, both sides. As is the, here we see if we can see it, as is the trunk floor itself, but whatever. I was just looking at the gas tank there. It's going to obviously need to be gone through and or replaced, but of course they got the hitch there, so I'm not sure if I can slide it out through the front or not. We'll have to see, because like I said, I almost want to leave that hitch on, just because, you know, that's the way they did it back in the day, right? Yeah, this side doesn't look bad. I'll go to the other side. Okay, this is the driver's side. Hard to see. There you go. You see the dog legs rested around here, or the, jump off and rested there. That's expected. The important part is the frame rails, and they are nice and clean for rust, and they're straight, so that's good. You see how they bolted. Did they weld as well, or what? They bolted the trailer hitch on. Looks like it's just, made from angle iron, and comes up right to the rear bumper. See the original tips, original hangers for the tips. This one popped out. Yeah, so that's a overview of the mess I got myself into. So that's that. One GTX. I was just going to say I've never owned a GTX, but I have. Well, I still do. My 74 Roadrunner is technically a GTX because it's a 440 car. So the madness continues here at Pile of Mopars. I just can't seem to help myself. I have such a passion for these cars, and when they do arrive or show up, and the deal or the price is right, sometimes I'll bite. Was I looking for a 68 GTX specifically? No. But I thought it could be fun, and we'll see where this takes us. So one more for the pile. Anyway, thanks for watching Pile of Mopars.